You'll notice how much foot room we have down here. Disregard the bugs. We tried to keep them out as much as we could.
Are you giving free feet pics right now?
Yeah.
In this economy?
Look at yours.
Don't look at mine. You can probably smell mine through the camera. Oh, hello.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
What are you doing?
Just sitting here, reading my book.
Where are you?
Moab.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at it out here.
What's up, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. As Ashley said, we are in Moab for this entire week. We've actually been out here for 2 days already, just kind of hanging out and taking a little bit of a break. I really didn't film anything. I didn't really shoot any photos, but today was the day that we decided to venture further out into some places that we haven't been before. Although if you've never been here, everything probably just kind of looks the same to you. We're on a trail that's pretty popular. I have never tackled this one, and I'm doing it this trip in the new Tacoma. Now, I want to bring you guys some quick updates of the truck, some things that have changed since I talked about this truck last. And also, we got to talk about the trailer back here. I have posted some photos and some stories of the trailer that I'm pulling, and a lot of people were like, what is that thing? Haven't seen that before. I have made videos with it, but this time we're really using it basically to its potential. There's a lot more that could be done with it, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But first up, what has changed on the TRD Pro 2024 Tacoma? So since the last update on this truck, it's still kind of in its OEM Plus form. I really haven't changed any suspension, just wheels, tires. It's got the wrap, and I mean, that's pretty much it, honestly. But since that last update, I did add a couple more things which aren't even complete yet. This whole build process is going fairly slowly, but right here I have some ditch lights that are Bluetooth. So these are the little Bluetooth modules here, complete Bluetooth lighting. Now, I haven't even had the chance to wire them up yet. The reason I haven't done that yet is because I actually want to wire them into the factory auxiliary switches, which are found underneath the engine bay here somewhere. I absolutely hate wiring, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but these are the diode SS3s, same as the van, same as the Tundra, and of course I'm running the Psy camo covers on there, which fits perfectly with the Psy camo wrap on this whole thing. Now, if we look up the truck a little bit here, I finally paid my friend Sherpa a visit in Colorado, and if you saw the truck at Overland Expo, you have probably seen all this stuff already, but up here I have their roof rack. This is the Rainier rack, and it was quite a cool change going from like my Axis cab and the double cab Tundra to a 4-door truck like this, which is more popular, kind of more standard in a way. The cool thing about it is their roof rack bolts right into the factory locations. And my other 2 trucks, the Axis cab and the Tundra, I had to drill through the pinch welds on the roof, and it's not a huge deal, but it is annoying. I was able to assemble this thing and get it installed in like 30 minutes. Shout out to the homie Trevor. He was the one helping me up there at Sherpa, and we got that thing dialed in. The reason I run Sherpa racks, well, there's a lot of reasons, but this is one of the best looking racks in my opinion. It is incredibly strong, super thick. I believe it's 1/4 inch aluminum on there. It just looks really good. It started with a regular wind fairing up front, but then I opted for a Diodynamics 42-inch light bar up there. Again, not wired. The wire is just kind of sitting up there on the roof. I have it zip tied to the rack, but I will get around to wiring this stuff in the future. Now moving back the truck before we get into the Rustic Mountain trailer, I'm gonna hop up here on the Diamondback so we can take a look at the top of this rack. This is going against some stuff that I've talked about in the past. I said I do not like when stuff is up really high and basically above the cab. However, I talked about this in some recent videos. Since this is a hybrid truck, I lose a lot of storage space under the seats. I know you guys are curious about the isodynamic seats up front. We're gonna get to that eventually. Not in this video, dedicated video, I promise. I'm gonna film that while I'm out here in Moab. But since I'm losing space under the seat because of the battery and hybrid system and everything, I decided, fine, I'll do roof boxes. And to be honest with you, I'm actually kind of liking them. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this setup looks a little goofy right now because it's sitting so tall. We have the Sherpa rack and then the boxes on top. It's not the most proportionate looking thing, but once I get something on the bed, on the Diamondback cover back here, I'm hoping that I can have my tent run pretty flush with these and still kind of keep that same philosophy that I've talked about in the past of not having something crazy tall sticking up back here. So anyway, these are some Roam cases. I've been using Roam cases for a long time now, and these are the 83 liter, kind of a clamshell design like that. New hinges, new interior design, so you have less of a lip here. You can fit more stuff inside. In this right box here, I have a ton of recovery gear. I've got some Agency 6 ropes. I got Diamondback ratchet straps. I've got a line for a compressor, which we'll talk about in a second. And then I've got some air up and air down tools. In this Vertex bag, I've got soft shackles, and what even do I have in here? Yeah, soft shackles. I got some more ratchet straps, jumper cables, basically anything you would need for recovery, even a little tree saw. So that stuff I want to have with me all the time with this truck because I'm putting it into a little bit more tricky places than the Tundra. So that is how I have this box set up. Now over on this left box, I really don't have anything set up inside yet. Not exactly sure what I'm going to put here, but I did want it to be even and have more storage, of course. I did, however, come up with this solution right here. So this is my Gen 2 Starlink dish, and I have it converted to 12 volts. So the router and everything is inside of here, and then it's a simple 12 volt conversion. So I have this running into my DJI battery, which was being powered by the solar, but the sun is now down. Now this thing has magnetic feet so I can move it between my vehicles. I've kind of talked about this in some other videos. It's just really convenient. With a rack and boxes on here though, I don't have access to the roof, and this needs a clear view of the sky. So I found these steel adhesive pucks on Amazon. I believe they're for like a CB radio, but they are ultra strong, and this thing has been on top of this box for the past like couple of weeks now. I run the cable through the side of the Sherpa rack and just in through the door, and it still allows me to open the box up. So again, nothing in this box yet. I will fill you guys in on what I'm doing with this space in the future, but I do have the Roam lid organizer, so a ton of organization space here. It will actually be nice when I get a tent on here because I can kind of reach these boxes while I'm in a tent in this area. So a ton of nice organization and storage there, but for now it's really just a place to mount my Starlink. I did have to grind down the plates to fit in between these little slots here, and if anyone is curious about that stuff, maybe I'll make a reel over on Instagram. If you want to follow me over there, I can kind of show you guys how I did that, but it's super nice being connected everywhere. That way I can work when we're in places like this. Now, real quick, let's show you the inside again. Kind of a mess in here right now with all the cables, but here is that DJI Power 1000. Again, I've been testing a ton of batteries. I just did a full dedicated video on this, and it's been great so far on this trip. Charging my drone, all of my camera gear, my computers, extra battery chargers, phone chargers, I mean everything. I've been using this thing nonstop, and what's cool about this truck being a hybrid, it can output 2400 watts, so I can fast charge this thing at 1200 watts, and in the morning this battery might be a little bit low because I'll plug the fridge into it and any other accessories that I need. But then by the time we get back to pavement, which is really not super far from this trail and camp spot that we're at, that thing will be up there close to 100% already. It can take a full charge in like almost an hour, a little over an hour. So that thing is super handy. I have it in the bag with all of the other accessories, and the cable just runs right inside the door like that. Doesn't really cause an issue. Now coming around to the tailgate setup, I really don't have anything in my bed right now other than my Iceco APL 35. I have done a dedicated video on this guy before too. If you're interested in learning about the fridge that I've been using, I'll leave a link to that video up in the corner as well. I have this thing strapped down to some new billet tie downs that Charvonia designed. CD, I believe, is the name of the company. They actually sent those out to my P.O. box, and I made a little reel of putting those things in. So really nice, better than the factory ones for sure. They have little ball detents, so they actually lock into place when you're not using them. And then I have perfect bungees just holding this thing down so it doesn't slide towards the actual cab of the truck. I've got a little Iceco battery that has been giving me some trouble because this cable keeps popping out, so I got that thing duct taped. The duct tape wasn't holding, so again, perfect bungee to just hold that thing in place. It doesn't look good at all, I know. I'm gonna figure out a better setup for that in the future, but that thing is also plugged into an AC outlet here. So that charges while we drive. When we get to camp, that should, in theory, power it for the night, but it's been like 100 degrees here in Moab, so that little battery is putting in some extra work right now. Now, if I clear my junk out of the way here, you may notice something new right here in the side of the bed. This is a brand new product that I'm testing out. This is the very first one. It's coming from a company which I am familiar with from the van space actually, CA Tuned. They made this pretty awesome compressor mount which hides into the little cubby on the bedside. They are making them for the 4th gen Tacoma. Hopefully I can convince them to make one for the Tundra as well because I really like this setup. Now I did this install in my garage right before Expo, and to be honest, it was pretty straightforward. I never really installed electrical and plumbing for a compressor like this other than in my van. So doing this was a little bit of a learning curve, but I got it done in like less than an hour. Right here is an air chuck in the rear, so this is where I'm going to be able to air up all of my tires. There's a switch right underneath here too. It's kind of hidden, hard to see, but really easy to access. And then these bolts right here that you can kind of see protruding, those are actually going into the bottom of the compressor. So down underneath here, it's going to be a little hard to see since it's already installed, but that up there is an ARB twin air compressor, which is what I put in all of my vehicles. Great for larger tires like 35s, 37s, things like that. And I did not want to wire this thing up myself. I got all of the wiring done to the unit. I did the hose plumbing, which is just a simple hose that kind of wraps around and goes out to the air chuck. There's a ton of space in this rear fender. So I got everything installed, and then I went to visit my buddies at True Automotive, and they were actually able to get it wired into the battery. The reason I didn't want to do this is because I thought it was going to be a little bit more involved with the hybrid system, but it really wasn't that bad. So we ran power across the back of the bed here, and then in this hybrid compartment that I was telling you guys about, the truck battery is actually right underneath where this battery is sitting. So we wired it into there. We pulled a little bit of auxiliary power, basically like ignition power, from these outlets in the bedside. So when the truck is running, you are able to turn the compressor on, and it's really simple, clean design, and it's using space that previously was not really used. I never kept anything in that cubby, so I'm glad I was able to test this product out, get it fit in there, and that way it saves me room under the engine bay, and it saves me the hassle of trying to mount that thing anywhere else. And now we will move back to the trailer that I'm pulling. And I'm not going to go into crazy depth in this video. I'll talk more about it over the next couple of days while we're out here. But if you haven't seen this before, this is a trailer from Rustic Mountain Overland, small business down in Birmingham, Alabama, and they are some great people. It's essentially a cargo trailer for camping, and this thing really goes places. It uses a lock and roll hitch, which basically allows this thing to articulate almost 360 degrees. So the trailer could do a barrel roll while I'm on the trail. Any kind of really hard dips and like undulations, any kind of really off-camber situations, the trailer just kind of does its thing back there. And the Tacoma surprisingly pulls it really well with the new hybrid system, the 4-cylinder turbo. A lot of people are still talking shit on it, and I'm hoping there are no issues in the future. That's what I keep saying, but so far it's still amazing. I would never have pulled this trailer with my 3rd gen Tacoma in its stock form on 35s like this. No way. Gear hunting all the time, it would not be pleasant. I pulled this thing loaded with gear from Denver all the way out here to Moab, up over 70, Eisenhower Tunnel, all of that stuff, and I'm passing people going up the mountain passes. I am typically driving this thing in the tow haul mode, which kind of like smooths out the power curve when it knows that you're pulling something, and it's been a good experience. If you guys have any more questions on that, I can fill you in some future videos, but the trailer. This is the Rustic Mountain Overland Patrol XCT, meaning it has a tongue box here. You can get it without this if you want something a little smaller, a little more affordable. And we have absolutely packed this thing out with gear. I got leveling blocks, propane tank, toiletries. I got a new Vertex duffel bag full of clothing, some extra shoes. I've got a rinse kit, so hopefully I'm gonna try to shower with that for the first time. Did you say thank God? You need to shower more than I do. You stink. And then as you can tell, the trailer looks kind of broken right now, if you've never seen it before, but this entire deck lid here pops up with these insanely strong hinges. So inside, Ashley has a bunch of her gear. I've got a case full of kitchen stuff. Having a trailer like this is really awesome because I can bring larger gear, like my Howl campfire. That thing has been super awesome to have with me. Generally, it's not going to fit super well in just my bed, so I'm stoked to have that with for this entire week while we're out here. So the deck lid pops up like that. You have an access door in the rear, which is like the main way I access everything. And then the top portion of this trailer was upfit by my friends at Free Spirit. So we have a lightener rack on here. Unfortunately, no accessories for this trip. And then I have a new tent up here, which some of you may have seen at Overland Expo. This is kind of a new iteration of the Aspen series of tent, not the Aspen Light that I had a big part in designing with them, but closer to the regular Aspen. So hard-sided tent, and the way it opens is a little bit different. So we'll get into that at some point on this trip as well. I guess the only other thing to mention would be the wheels and tires on this. I did upgrade these tires to previously work really well with my Sprinter. This was the same setup that I had on my Sprinter van. Owl Talon wheels on here, so we actually have an adapter plate on there, kind of like a wheel spacer, which would adapt a Sprinter wheel to a trailer like this. And that's a 285/75/17 tire on there. I kind of wish it matched like every vehicle I pulled it with, so it would be cool to put Black Rhinos and Firestones on there because I'm really enjoying this new setup. Baharis, Apex valves, Destination MT2s, but for now, kind of matches a van and still looks good behind the truck. So that was a ton of information for you guys all at once, and again, I'm going to cover a lot of this stuff for the rest of this trip, but for now, we're going to chill a little bit. Brought my chair over here too.
Yeah.
This is nice.
What a nice fiance. Damn it, look at all these ants. Get out of here.
A lot of fire ants out here.
Why are they crawling on you?
Because I'm wearing shoes. Shout out to Lems, not a sponsor.
Should be.
Should be. Could be. Could be. Yeah, we're going to enjoy this sunset, and then we'll set up camp a little bit more, cook some dinner, talk about the tent, talk about the trailer some more, and enjoy this solidarity. There's no one out here.
No.
It's so quiet. How do we look in 4K, by the way?
That looks so good.
4K, baby. Turn up that resolution. Alrighty then. It's about 9 o'clock at night, and I was going to cook dinner and do the typical camp thing that I show you guys in videos, but my stomach doesn't feel great. I don't know if it was from eating at a Chinese food truck. Could have been some witch poison that Ashley gave me.
It was an electrolyte powder.
She claims it was electrolyte powder. I just don't feel good. That's okay though. Let me see your dinner. Since I'm not cooking, this is a good second choice. Dill pickle chopped salad. I haven't had an appetite since like getting out here. It might be coming back though. This is good. Yeah, we've had the Hal going for like 2 hours now. Just the A flame, which means you can run it for a pretty long time. Honestly, not even using it for warmth right now because it's still pretty warm out here, but just some light little ambiance. She made s'mores and had dessert first. And maybe you can tell, but I cleaned up. I showered for the first time using the rinse kit, and I've been using the rinse kit a bunch just to have water other than in like roto packs, which is kind of what I used to do. Kind of annoying doing things that way, so having a rinse kit cube with the pump built in and a spray nozzle and everything, it's great for just like keeping things clean around camp. I actually cleaned the Hal campfire with it last night and keeping me clean. I don't stink anymore. I smell great actually. So I just got all nude out here in the canyon. But I had the rinse kit sitting right there on the tongue box in the sun for a while, so it actually heated up. Temperature gauge said that it was like around 90, but it was definitely not that warm. But it was a decently warm-ish shower. When the breeze blew, got a little bit cold, and I barely put a dent in that 3.5 gallon capacity. We've been using that for the past couple of days now, and there's still plenty of water left, which is a good sign. That brings me to the next thing, this trailer, and how I wish I could kind of outfit it. I talked about outfitting this thing in a previous video when I pulled this with the Tundra when it was in its stock form, and it would be really nice to actually do some more like modifications to this, really set it up to be a complete overlanding setup that you could just hook up to any vehicle and go camp on a moment's notice. So thinking about that, I would really like to do a fridge slide out for the side there with a battery kind of like built in there, and then solar on top of the tongue box, because I don't really keep anything there while we're traveling around. If I stuck with the lightener rack and a tent on there, it would be really nice to have their storage containers. They actually have like a water pressurized unit, so I wouldn't even need the rinse kit in that case. I would just have water on there all the time, and more water than that rinse kit even holds. And then on the inside, it would be nice to do some kind of like pole kitchen, some kind of slide out where you would have everything that you need to cook. That's really all you would need on the inside. Maybe throw some camp chairs, throw the Hal campfire, throw the propane in there, and then with the storage boxes from Lightner, it would be a pretty ideal setup. Maybe some lights. I could put my bike carrier on there too. Could have brought the Suron out, but it would make the thing even longer than it is now. And then for the tent setup, we'll get into what this tent is a little bit in this video, maybe a little bit more tomorrow. But it would be really nice to have some kind of awning on there, whether a 180 or 270 awning. And for the use case that I just talked about, showering, it would actually be nice to have a little shower room on there. I mean, I'm showering in complete darkness and there's no one around for a while, so it's not like anyone's gonna see me or Ashley showering over there. But I think if you have the space, you could do 270 on this side and a little shower room on the other side. I don't know if you guys would even be interested in seeing me using a trailer like this with that application where I wouldn't have to change anything else with the truck. The truck pulls it great, but it does make traveling a little bit more difficult when you're in town, parking spots, parking garages and stuff like that. When you're out on the trail, generally, it's pretty easy to maneuver because it's just a really short trailer overall. So I was able to kind of pull into this camp spot that we're in and really back it around and move things in a way that it's easy to situate. But if you're on switchbacks, if you have to turn around on a trail, it definitely makes things a little bit trickier, but that's just kind of one of the trade-offs for having something that disconnects from your main rig. Less weight on the truck itself and a little bit more length, and you're pulling a trailer. Speaking of that, we're gonna clean things up around here in a little bit and climb into that tent, and I will show you some of the features of this new thing that I think is coming out. Maybe you've seen it in my stories already. It's kind of interesting though. All right, we are in the new tent, but before we talk about that, Ashley would like to show you something that she got today.
Look how freaking cute he is. This is what all the TikTok girlies do. Can you see it? Can you see it?
It's a worm with a cowboy hat,
Yeehaw.
but it's a hair clip.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
So cool.
How does he look? How does he look? Is he just the rootinest, tootinest hair clip you've ever seen?
Yeah. The rootinest, tootinest.
All right, now for the tent. We are currently in a tent that I honestly don't know a whole lot about. Free Spirit kind of showed this thing off at the last Overland Expo in Loveland, Colorado, and that was my first time seeing it. They're calling this one the Aspen Rise. So this is like the third variant of the Aspen series. The Aspen Light, which was the one that I helped with. We have the Aspen, which is kind of the nicer, in certain ways, hard-sided version of the Aspen Light. And now this guy, like the Aspen, so it's a full hard-shell tent. But you may have noticed when I actually opened this thing,
The opening is a little bit different. You'll notice how much foot room we have down here. Disregard the bugs. We tried to keep them out as much as we could.
Are you giving free feet pics right now?
Yeah.
In this economy?
Look at yours.
Don't look at mine. You can probably smell mine through the camera.
down here we actually have a smaller window because there are new hinges on the outside, which basically lifts it up. Gives you a lot more room down here. You could technically sleep with your head down at that end too if you wanted to, but I'm so used to sleeping this way. So that's why we're positioned like this, but you have a window down there, which in the past, like, what, 2-3 nights we've stayed in here now? There's a lot more airflow through here, which is really nice. I think that's like the biggest added benefit of having a window down there. You're not really going to get any views out of there unless you're like laying with your face down by it, but I can already feel a little bit of air coming up through the tent, and it just really opens things up, which is pretty nice. Now we still have a lot of similar features from the other tents. We have some tri-layer material up on the hard-sided top here. There's actually no tri-layer on the walls, but the windows, which I have rolled up, and the main door behind us here, those are tri-layer, so kind of like the Aspen Light in that aspect. We have some storage pockets down there, LED strips that run all the way around. There is kind of like this torsion bar here to kind of pop out the rainfly, similar to the other Aspens, and we have the iPad in this clear pocket so we can watch a movie.
And there's spots for our shoes.
Yeah, there are shoe bags on all of the tents. I typically don't use them often, which is why you probably didn't know that.
But your feet stink, so.
I showered. I smell great right now. You don't. You need to move to the other side of the tent. No. There is a lot of room in here.
I don't want a lot of room.
I do. Oh, you stink. You stink. Get over there. Before I return this to Free Spirit, I'm going to have to wash all these sheets. There are fitted sheets now for the AirCore mattress, which
like
is
them.
nice.
Their texture is very nice.
Yeah, it's not jersey knit. It's like, I don't know. It's pretty soft. Feels good. And I have the Free Spirit pillowcases, the Sherpa blanket over here. I'm actually laying on the wearable poncho right now. The pillows that I have are not great. Should really get fluffier pillows, but they live in the tent and then they get all smushed down over time, So I am kind of testing this tent out. I'll give you, I don't know about a full review of it, but I'll definitely be giving Free Spirit some feedback on it. Maybe some things that could make it even a little bit better. Some things that I like. There is a lot that I actually like about it, but there are some things that could be done in kind of a cooler way, just to kind of keep things innovative. I've looked at like a million different tents at the last expo, and there are some things that a lot of companies are lacking, so I've got ideas here that someone needs to implement. I'm tired. It's now 11 o'clock. We gotta go to bed.
We need to go to bed.
Okay, thanks for watching.
We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Later.